This COVID period has really shown us how important it is to consider, money and relationships and how we especially as men, are dealing with our money and how we are managing our money in relation to our relationships. How are we coping? Are there certain things that we need to be doing? Are there some guidelines, some terms and conditions we need to be paying attention to? And do these things actually matter? My name is Mwenesi. Let's talk about men, money, and relationships. And this is Get Yours. As with most of my videos, the inspiration for the topics come from conversations that I have with friends and colleagues, and this is no different. The other day we were having a chat with my friend and he was talking about, what exactly is my responsibility as a man in the relationship as far as money and provision are concerned. This is the age-old discussion, and this can become very emotive very quickly, especially when you're looking at the different scenarios that come with men and money. The first scenario being, if you are the main breadwinner in your house as the man, and your partner, your female partner, your wife is not working. If the second scenario is if you are both earning money, how does that play out? Who's responsible for what? If you're earning and she's earning and you're kind of at the same level, who's responsible for what? And the third question is, what if she's out earning you? What if she is making significantly more than you are making? What then? Who is responsible for what as far as those are concerned? And it got me thinking, and it made me look around, not just at my own situation, but at many other people. And these are topics that can cause, significant issues if they're not dealt with right from the beginning and if the communication channels are not open. Time immemorial, we as men have been taught and socialized, regardless of background, religion, status, upbringing, tribe, race, whatever, that a man is there to provide. And what does it actually mean as a man to provide? What does that actually mean? Be the one to provide. I like to think that as a man, we have very little that sorry, it sounds weird, but we have very little going for us in terms of what value we're bringing to the world. To be very honest, let's actually just call it what it is. As a guy, we can't give birth, so we're not able to bring life into the world. We can contribute to it, certainly, but we can't bring life into the world. We can't carry a pregnancy for 9 months. And so our value is restricted, in my mind, to the provision that we give. And provision is guidance, it is money, it is some level of direction, I think. And, absent of these three things, it becomes very difficult for a man to be considered valuable. And this is something that many of us men are grappling with and dealing with, to the extent that, again, and this is something that I'll raise over and over, it affects our mental state, it affects our mental issue, it affects our self-worth if we're not able to provide money, guidance, and direction, and we are there, for the ride. So when it comes to provision, when I talk about these three scenarios, where you are the primary breadwinner, you're the one who's making the money, and your wife is not working or earning any money. If you are both making money and if she's making more money than you, what are the obligations and what's actually supposed to happen? Are there rules? Are there set guidelines? So I can only speak from my perspective and my thinking as a man, knowing full well that this primary underlying issue that men are there to provide, typically in the past, provision was equated to food, shelter, and clothing. So when it comes to food, what are we going to eat today? That is typically, and for time immemorial, that has been the man's core business. You are the one to decide or to provide, as they call it, bringing home the bacon. You're the one to bring home the food and make sure that you go out and you hunt. I mean, men are typically have been hunters and women have been considered as gatherers. So as the hunter, you go out, you hunt, you bring the food, and then it is then prepared, something is done to it. So whether it's money, I mean, nowadays we don't exactly go out and, spear food or whatever it is, but we go out and we look for the money and we bring it back. And then it is the job of whoever our partner is to now make sure that she apportions it correctly. In a situation where you're both earning money, where you're both going out to hunt, is food still the consideration of the man? I think it should be. I think it should be, but this is now where it becomes optional for the woman to now say, okay, you know what, as much as this is what you're providing, and your ability has been to provide us with this level of provision, maybe I can add the spices, maybe I can add something that will complement or add to whatever it is that you're providing, just so that the man doesn't feel like he's emasculated. So if you're the one who's bringing the bread, maybe she can bring, the margarine or whatever it is, so that at least there is some parity, but it doesn't stop you as the man from bringing the bread to the table. And the third one is where she's making much more than you. Are you still obligated to provide the food? And the simple answer to this is yes. In my opinion, you provide the food, shelter, and clothing regardless. When it comes to shelter and knowing where it is that where the family is supposed to live, obviously a lot of these things are open communication. You have to be open and honest about your capacity as a man. And one thing that I learned from a very old wise friend of mine is he said that a woman can never go down in lifestyle. So whatever lifestyle you found her at, you need to be prepared and open and honest enough that if you are providing food, shelter, and clothing, then the shelter that she is accustomed to, that is the minimum level that she will be at. So you need to know that whatever it is that she is used to from a lifestyle and living conditions perspective, you need to be able to maintain that at a bare minimum. Okay, so paying whatever rent or mortgage or whatever it is that she is used to, wherever it is that you found her, whatever conditions it is that you found her at, she cannot drop below that lifestyle. So do your best as a man to provide the kind of shelter that she's accustomed to, and the only way is up. In other words, if you are going to provide more, then you can improve. This is regardless of whether she earns nothing, she earns the same as you, or she earns more than you. Maintain her lifestyle, and that is why be honest and open with yourself when you're engaging with someone, that you can maintain her lifestyle. And then the rest of it, clothing really is, nowadays you have other things that you have to consider. There's healthcare, like health insurance. There is entertainment, transport, communication, like Wi-Fi and, cell phone stuff. All this is still part of your provision as a man, but I think this is now where you can have a bit of leeway. If you can take care of these three things, where you're taking care of your food, you're taking care of shelter, and you're taking care of some of the other essential amenities like water, electricity, and communications, then I think as a man, you will have been considered to have done enough. There are other considerations like school fees, which will come into play if you have kids, and some other, items that are, entertainment, luxury, travel, holidays, whatever it is. These are things that I think you can probably discuss together, but from a provision perspective, food, shelter, and the basic essentials and amenities of life, water, electricity, healthcare, and transport and communication. I think as a man, if you can provide these things to the best of your ability, knowing full well that a woman cannot go down in lifestyle, I think you'll be okay. I think once a man accepts these things, then his level of masculinity and value that he's bringing into the world is not compromised. And then now you can support the woman in whatever else it is that she's doing, whether it is having children or doing or building her career or whatever it is. I think I will stop there because there's so much that we can discuss about men and provision. I'd like to get your thoughts, especially in the comment section. Let me know, as a man, do you agree that it is your job to provide these things? Or, does it depend on the changes of circumstance, whether the woman earns more than you or whether she's earning nothing? Is she allowed to earn nothing? I don't know. People are different. I'm just sharing with you my perspective. Remember, all I want you to do is get yours.